So we're back. Hi, Vanessa Callahan here, owner and founder and lead coach, lead parent empowerment coach at Raising Our Resilience. And we're back to talk about what to do when kids are ignoring our instructions, ignoring our requests. And we feel like we have a reasonable ask, right? We're trying to have them clean up a mess that they made, or transition maybe from from playing to mealtime, or from mealtime to, classroom homework time that we're kind of setting up, and they're not listening, they're ignoring us. Maybe we're finding ourselves repeating ourselves, even escalating, threatening with punishments, or maybe trying to coax them with rewards. And we're kind of getting in the cycle of creating a lot of tension and frustration between us and the kids, and maybe even starting to feel overwhelmed and worn out from just all of the repetition. So we're here today, and we've been working on this for the last few weeks because why not now, right? While the kids are home 24/7, while we are having plenty of opportunity to practice these skills, why not learn now a few key things that we can do that someone like me, who has put in their over 10,000 hours, has worked with hundreds of families and kids, now almost 2 decades worth of experience, really looking at these questions of like, how do you get kids on board with you? How do you get them to really respect and understand why there are certain rules or requests coming their way? How do we get them to start to take some personal responsibility, for the things that they're developmentally ready for? 3-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds are all ready for something different. But we are going to be their steady presence in their lives. So if we don't step up and give them the structure, the leadership, the guidance that they need, they'll let us know, because they'll show us that it's working or it's not working. Right? So what I would love for you, if you're here with me right now in the Facebook group, or if you're over in the Raising Resilience business page, go ahead in the comments. I would just love to hear from you. Where you're tuning in from. It's always fun to hear. Sometimes we get folks from China, Bulgaria, all kinds of places, all over the world. I've even had someone tune in from Thailand, from Bali, from New Zealand. So do let us know where you're tuning in from, even if you're watching the replay. And then let us know the ages of your kids. And one thing that I want you to think about, one thing that you request of your kids that you find yourself getting either the most frustrated over, the least listening and cooperation, or you just find yourself repeating the most. Go ahead and put that in the comments so I can workshop with you and support you with your specific sticking point with your children right now, with your child or your children, or your little ones, whoever they are in your life. I know we also have a lot of caregivers here. We have all kinds of folks tuning in. And it really takes a village of very different kinds of parents with very different family makeups to get through this parenting experience together. So whether you're a grandparent, a caregiver, a teacher, a mom, a dad, go ahead and let us know who are your littles in your life, what ages are they, what sticking point you have right now, and where you're tuning in from in the comments. And it just makes it a lot more fun for everybody too. So let's dig in. Part 3. So quick review, part 1 and part 2 were all about really getting, for us, getting really clear about like, what is it that we're actually asking for when we're making a request. Sometimes we'll ask for what we don't want by accident, and we'll also assume that what we want is obvious to the kids. So that was the first tip, is, be clear and specific, asking for what you do want. So that's sort of in the limit setting moment right at the beginning, and even beforehand, thinking ahead, like what am I actually going to say in the moment to be really clear, specific, and ask for what I do want instead of what I don't want. So that was part 1. There's a video from 2 Mondays ago if you'd like to check that out. Then the next thing I want you to do is really think about, in the moment, avoiding repeating yourself, because whether you have meant to or not, if you have found yourself very frustrated about repeating yourself over and over again, it's very likely that you and your child have developed an unspoken agreement about how many times they can ignore you before they need to take you seriously. And last week we talked about a mom who had 12 12 as her number. She was, and this is really common, where she was finding herself saying her child's name 10 to 12 times before her child would actually take her seriously. And so really trying to get that number down by saying it once and then giving a reminder, kind of a benefit of the doubt reminder that includes what will happen if they do follow through and what will happen if they don't follow through. And really giving it back to them. So they have a choice whether they follow through, this happens, or if they don't, this other thing happens. And just coming up with those two choices can take a lot of practice. And that's why in this session, especially, I'm really going to encourage you that if you are finding yourself in these cycles where the kids aren't listening and you're getting stuck, I want you to do a smart thing that so many parents have done in the past when they realize, man, I really need some personal hands-on help here. I want you to do a smart thing and go ahead and take my parent discovery quiz. And what that quiz will do is help you pinpoint some areas within your parenting world that could really be bolstered, that you could put some attention on. And if you were, for example, to focus on setting up routines that run smoothly, getting really clear and really confident with limit setting and following through with that. And then also perhaps maybe one of yours is how to learn through conflict resolution. And if you find out that there's these areas that you really would feel like you're more of a beginner or, barely starting to learn something maybe you didn't grow up with, right? Maybe something that's just, it triggers something in you and it's really hard. If that's the case and you take that quiz, then the second part of it, you actually get to apply for a discovery session where we'll get on the phone and get you strategies. So it's a parent strategy session. It's 20 minutes on Zoom and you'll get access to me. But what you'll need to do is fill out that quiz and fill out the application and really show me that you're serious and interested in getting some support and making changes as soon as possible. I love working with motivated people, and I would love to, and I'm giving these sessions away, these complimentary sessions, to make sure that I'm offering as much support to my community as I can right now. So I've actually opened up my schedule to fit in these discovery calls, these sessions. So please do apply. It's in the link. It's in the post, it's in the link. And the link is in the post and this video, and you can go ahead and click on it and apply now. Just go for it. Find out what your results are. Let me know that you're interested in getting on Zoom with me, hopping on, and I would love to support you. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And then the other thing that I wanted to share with you is that we're having a Navigating Meltdowns, Tantrums, and Power Struggles seminar on Saturday, and it's going to be on Zoom. So if you have friends who are not on Facebook, it's a really great opportunity for you to be able to share the resources that you're finding in here with your parent friends who are not on Facebook. And then in Zoom, it's also great because when we're on the webinar, I can bring people into the panel and we can actually have some dialogue and I can coach you directly in that space as well. The training is my most popular training about what to do when the kids have the big emotions, whether they're throwing themselves on the floor or they're retreating and hiding and refusing to talk. Yeah, there's an art to this, and I want to give you my 3 keys to being able to navigate those tough emotional times with your kids. And really what we want is to teach them some emotional mastery, tools to cope, tools to be able to express their emotions in constructive ways, tools to know like what to say and do when they are getting flooded with those feelings. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and register for my Navigating Meltdowns webinar. And if you're on the business page, it's if you click on the banner, you can find the event. It's also the top event in the event section. If you're in the Facebook group, go ahead and click on the banner or find the pin post at the top and register. It'll also give you a chance to, get into a learning space with me where we really concentrate on one thing for several hours. And the reason why that's important is you can just get a deeper learning than just kind of grabbing hot tips here and there from these Monday mindset experiences that I've been doing. So I'm going to continue with part 3, but if you're listening on the business page, you really need to hop into the group, okay? And the rest of the video will be there on the post. So those of you who are listening there, go ahead and hop over. You just go to visit group at the top and join, request to join, and I'll approve you so you can come and join me over in the group. All right, so those of you who are already in our parent group, by the way, if you get the chance to, please please say hello to someone new in the group. In the welcome post, we've had over 40 people join in the last month. Our community is growing. Also, go over to the little bar on the side that says invite, and just it's really easy. You're just like, I found a cool free parent resource group. Come join me. Just pop it into the little message on the top, and I can even show you where that is. And what you can do is just invite your friends. It's super easy. You just go ahead and um, like they'll say there's like a search for members to invite, and you just put in a person's name and it pops up and you just hit send. It's super easy. Janae just did that. She invited like 12 of her friends. You know, I've had several people do that where they kind of brought their community into the space so that we can be together. And it's just really lovely to share resources right now because we're all stuck at home and we don't get to like hang out in front of our kids' preschool or outside of elementary school or, you know, at a sporting event and swap stories and figure things out together. Like this is our space to do that now. And so that's part of why we want to be, you know, sharing these resources with each other. So I'm going to show you where that is so you can go ahead and do it. It's really easy and an important thing to be able to share these resources. So it's right here. And what you do is you just click right here and you enter the name or address of someone that you have in mind. Like, let's say I would want to invite my friend, Haley. And then I just did that and now they're invited. It's just so easy. So go ahead and head over there and invite like, you know, 5, 10, 20 people, just people in your preschool community, people in your elementary community, whoever it might be, so that they can also get access to these resources. It's a great way for them to find out about, like, for example, the Navigating Meltdowns webinar, these Mindset Mondays, so they can also get to the other side of setting limits and creating smooth routines and learning through conflict resolution and navigating big emotions, you know, all these pillars, 7 pillars of raising a resilient child that we continue to rotate through in this group. And, you know, and if they are really in a dire state where they're like, oh my gosh, if I don't get some support in place right now, besides just quick tips, like, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this, like, they will thank you. You know, I've had so many of my referrals, like clients who ended up in my year-long immersion or working with me in private coaching, who are just so happy that somebody told them about it or they found it, because this resource is pretty rare. It doesn't really exist in a lot of forums out there, with so much handholding and so much support in place and such a great community to learn with. So all of that to say, you got this. Like, we can do this together. And I want you to have these resources. And I want parents out there who need the support to get the support. It's like the mission of my company. It's the mission of my, you know, I really feel like alignment with this in terms of like what I'm here to do on this planet. So please help me to spread the word and help your friends and community to get access to these resources. You don't need to keep it a secret. Okay, so part 3 that we're talking about today builds off of part 1 and part 2. So when you know what you want and it's really clear what you want, because you took a moment to think it through, what do I want instead of what I don't want, instead of stop screaming, it's, you know, find a way to ask your sister for what you need. Let me help you figure out what you need so you can ask for that. You know, you're shifting things, right? From this like tension, this power struggle where you're pushing and they're pushing back and etc. And you're moving towards teamwork, collaboration. Hey, we both have a goal here to have a good time. We both have a goal here to get your math done so we can go outside and play. Hey, we both have a goal here to have a healthy and, you know, I would say peaceful home, you know, as much as possible, where, you know, it's not so messy and cluttered and overwhelming, but a little more clean and fresh when we walk through the door after we're outside, you know, that sort of thing. So when we move from just being clear on what we're going to say, and we, in the moment, are really gaining their respect, that we mean what we say, because we know what we want and we're being really clear, because we are not going to stand there and repeat ourselves over and over again or have to yell in order to get their attention. We're not about that anymore. We're not playing that game anymore. That's the past. And we're going to make it their choice to get on board or to have some kind of other outcome or consequence, right? It's really up to them. So we're starting to give it back to them and make it less about you, right? It's like, what are you going to do, honey? You know? So we're creating that with those limited choices and with making sure we're not repeating ourselves. And now the new part that I really want you to consider, and this is not just for setting limits. I'm going to say that again. This is not just for setting limits. This is tried and true. This is anytime, this technique I'm about to share with you is what you do anytime things are breaking down. And you can do all these things to handle it in the moment, yeah, that we've been talking about. But what I really want you to learn about is what you can do over and over and over again, no matter what the problem is or the issue is, that you have a way of addressing it, okay? And I'm going to tell you a little story. So it had been, I guess, 12 years since I had been a full-time preschool teacher. And I stepped in at the old preschool I was working at because I was conducting a research study there, but they also had a lot of teachers out. So I was stepping in as a teacher as well. And I found myself on the yard as somebody that the kids don't know very well, that they are testing to see if I'm going to be someone they need to listen to or take seriously. Let me know if you've been there too. You feel like your child is testing, like, oh yeah, they're testing me too. Go ahead and write it in the comments. And and also, if you're tuning in and listening, I would love for you to say hello. Just let me know that you're here and what limit has been especially hard to reinforce lately. And what I would
let me know if you've been there too. You feel like your child.
And one of the things that was happening was I was out on the yard with the kids, and there's this really great little like play structure part that the kids just were zooming around and having a great time. However, there were at least 5 kids, and 4 of them were boys. There's 1 girl too, who had decided they don't need to listen to me because I'm new, they don't know me, all this stuff, right? And I could tell, I could just feel it. Like they're just like, whatever. And they were playing this game of chase each other up the slide, which we all know, like there were other kids who are trying to go down the slide, that it becomes a problem. And unless everybody's agreed that we're all going to play the same game of going up the slide, there are traffic jams and collisions. Some of these kids were really little, 2.5, 3, so they weren't even able to understand what was happening, except that people were trying to run them over. They were crashing into other kids. It was a hot mess. And I was going around going like, hey, sweetheart, remember you need to go up the slide. Or you don't go up the slide, we go down the slide, asking for what I need, being really clear, right? We need to go down the slide, sweetheart. And then the next thing so I'm specific, right? I was like, so, and we go on our bottoms, we put our bottoms on the slide and go down the slide. Got it? And they're like, yeah. And then I would go help some kid on the other side of the yard and they would look and go do it anyway, right? I was like, okay. Then I came through with step 2, which was, hey, so I know you heard me. I know you heard me the first time because you said back to me, yeah, we go down the slide on our bottoms. And this is your reminder. Remember I said only say it once. So I told them once and I made sure they heard it. And I'm like, this is your reminder. If you go down the slide again, or you go up the slide again, or down the slide on your face first. If I see you use the slide in a way that's different from going down the slide on your bottom, then the slide will be closed for you for today. If you go down the slide on your bottom, the slide will be open. It's your choice. You can have the slide open going down on your bottom, or you can have the slide closed if you try to use it a different way. Okay, got it? Yeah, got it. Okay. And then they weren't taking me seriously. So child waits till I'm not looking, or I'm otherwise occupied, or a friend comes over and they're back in their game mode and they just drop everything that we had just said. And you've seen this with siblings, they get carried away and all of a sudden you're invisible and clearly no sound is coming out of you because they're not responding anymore, and the child starts to go up the slide. So then I have to intervene and say, sweetheart, sorry, slide is closed for you now. Slide is closed. You need to find something else to do. And then I had to close the slide for like 6 kids, all these kids just kept closing the slide. And now I'm having to track 6 kids not using the slide. And you might feel this way, like when you're doling out consequences left and right, or doling out like choices left and right. And it's so many times you start to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of tracking. Do they lose their screen time today or not? Wait, how many days are they not supposed to use this toy? Where did I put it again? I mean, it just starts to get to be this place where you're like, I don't want to run my whole life around like rules and reinforcing rules and having to track all these consequences. And then also like kids melting down because they're upset because they can't have it, or then they cross the line again. And then you feel like you have to double down on it. And like, now you can't have screen time all week. You know, it can just go down that road. So here's what I recommend. And here's what I did. So listen to the recommendation and the story. When I realized that it was an ongoing thing, that, you know, these other strategies were not going to work, they weren't going to make the impression that was needed, I used my next lesson time, which you can create yourself as a parent. Okay. I brought the kids out, and the same way I would teach them how to use a math material, the same way I would teach them how to put together some art project, the same way I would teach them like the grace and courtesy of maybe like how to say please and thank you or something, right? I brought them over to the slide and I had kids demonstrate what it looks like to use the slide properly. And I even put like a little doll at the end and had someone go down and it kicked the doll and it flew into the wood chips. And we were all like, oh no, the poor doll's going to get hurt. And we basically took time out for training, which is a principle of positive discipline, right? Jane Nelson's work. And it's magical. I mean, it really, really works. So I had all of their attention. They weren't in the middle of the game. They weren't wondering what their friend was doing. I wasn't trying to manage what was happening all around me, or maybe trying to cook a meal at the same time or something, right? And we just had this concentrated time for me to go over expectations really clearly. Give them a heads up about the slide being open or closed, depending on how they use it. But really also demonstrate it and show them more than tell them, right? And have them practice it. So then I had all the kids go down the slide the way it goes. And we all agreed that that was the safest way. We really, and I asked them, I said, I want to see your head nodding like this, you know, and then I want to hear the words. We go down the slide. And everyone's like, we go down the slide. I said, what do? We go down the slide. Do we go up the slide? No. What do? We go down the slide. And this is 3 to 6 year olds. So you're going to want to, of course, adjust depending on the age of the child, right? Does that make some sense? I mean, with under 3, something to 2.5, you actually have to kind of like give them a chance, to correct it again, and then maybe move on if they're really not able to handle it and be able to follow the rules, the safety rules, or follow expectations. You might just need to move away from that activity and reintroduce it again, and give a lesson before you get back on that, get back onto that activity or chore or task. So taking that time to do that lesson, I'll tell you, it was night and day. When I got back out there for recess that day and for the rest of that week, the kids used the slide properly. And when they didn't, they even helped each other remember, down the slide, not up the slide, down the slide, and they're like, and even when I heard one kid say, we don't want to kick teddy bears, it was really sweet because it was like a teddy bear at the end. And then the other thing is that one of the kids said, we don't want the slide to be closed. Let's keep the slide open. And then I did have to kind of saunter over a couple times and say, boys, are you really going to go up that slide so that the slide is closed for you? And they're like, and I'm like, and that's why I'm like using my lighten up strategy. I'm like, is that really what you're doing, honey? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, all right. It looked like you might have, but it's okay. All right. Looks like you're going to go use the ladder now. And they're like, yeah, we'll use the ladder. I'm like, yeah, you will, and feel into that, like how that feels different. I can do a and I know kind of moment with the kids because we had a chance to actually go over it. What a difference from the previous week where I was literally going around trying to like remind all these kids and dropping consequences and getting frustrated. And, my lid was coming off. They were like, oh, they don't really want to be around this angry adult, frustrated adult. And it was just a really different energy, a really different kind of relationship that was happening. And it was carrying over this frustration. Let me know if you can relate to that, like the frustration carrying over into the next thing, and like the relationship feeling strained for the rest of the day or for the next hour, and just kind of like, oh, you need to go through a whole cycle to repair, which is a whole nother training. But so in the comments, what are your takeaways? This is the third part. So how are you going to, like, let's put the 3 parts together. Yeah. What's something you heard today in this training? Let's write it in the comments, right? That's something that you heard that you're like, oh, I want to go try that. Yeah. Please write it in the comments so that not only can it'll help you remember something you want to try, but it'll also help other folks who are checking out this video and also dropping comments to say like, oh yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to remember that point too. So it might be something like this. Take some time out for training when you find yourself getting frustrated by not getting the listening that you want. You know, that's such a key thing. And you can do this for anything that is breaking down in family life. You can come back to this idea that we are a family that can come together, review what's going on, revisit it, you know, and get clear and get on the same page again before we go back out and kind of go live, right? Like for me, it was, let's have this circle before recess. And so I'm wondering, what is the thing that you would love to improve in your family life right now that you'd like to have less conflicts and struggles with? Rachel's here. Hi. Jen was here for a little bit. Go ahead and write it in the comments. And that way I can also follow up with you in the comments. And then if you are finding yourself frustrated and struggling with some of these pieces, especially with kids listening, or with kids having really big meltdowns and emotions and tantrums, or, you know, real sadness right now that you're not sure what to do about, go ahead and take that parent discovery quiz and apply for a session. I want to help you. I want to support you and get some strategies in your hands that are personalized to you. And it's like a no obligation complimentary 20-minute session where we also get to check out if it's a good idea for us to work together, either as a private client or in one of my parent programs. But there's no obligation, like I said. So it's really just for you. It's my gift to my community to be able to show up for these 20-minute sessions. So please go ahead and check out the link at the top. I highly recommend that you at least take the quiz, and then you can still submit that and your feedback without having to apply for the session. But then if it does speak to you, go ahead and apply, and we'll get some support in your hands in the next week. Let's do it. And I'll see you over there. Otherwise, just want you to know how much I admire you as a parent. There's so much on your plates right now, and the fact that you got to this part of the video, listen through it, means that, you know, you're willing to take a step out and just see what you could be possibly doing to kind of steer the ship in the direction you want to go, and get your kids on board with you to get some better listening and more feeling of that being on the same page as a team. Because when you're side by side approaching it together, like how could we map this out so that it goes better, honey? Like what are we trying? What's working? What's not working? What's another way we could approach this for a week and see what happens, right? Like Rachel's saying, schoolwork, like what, maybe having a moment to sit down together and really like revisit what's on the plate here, like what actually needs to get done for the week. You know, Sunday nights are a great time to do that. As assignments roll in, you know, taking a 5-minute break to just check in and map it out. Hearing their ideas first, the older the kids are, especially, what do they think will work? And then making a plan or an agreement of what you're going to try for now. And a heads up on if there is something that, you know, you want to be able to reinforce and follow through on, like what's going to be the positive or negative consequence or result of action or inaction, right? Of like one choice or another, and really kind of getting a sense of that ahead of time so that in the moment you can feel like that you can get more of that, you know, and I know, come on, let's see what we can do, versus like you're kind of locked into your positions in a battle. So yeah, let me know in the comments, grab that quiz and take it, and let me know that you're ready for some more support, and we'll hop on Zoom for 20 minutes and get you some personal strategies. Okay. All right. My gift to you, and hope you're able to take moments of self-care for yourself in the next couple hours here. Take 10 minutes for yourself. Give yourself breaks. You need them. Okay. And we'll be back on Monday, but even before that, our Navigating Meltdowns webinar on Saturday. So hope to see you at both, and be well for now.